All right, good evening. We're going to start the October the 6th meeting. We'll have the invocation by myself. Then we have the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance first, and then we'll have a roll call, then the invocation. Let's have the Pledge of Allegiance first.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, bow your heads. Lovingly and Heavenly Father, we come to you this hour asking for your blessings and help as we are gathered together. We pray for guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you would clearly show us how to conduct our work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Give us the desire to find ways to excel in our work and be watching over our first responders as they go about their work and jobs this day. Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Commissioner Brunson?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson?
Here.
Mayor Johnson?
Here.
Commissioner Firstner?
Here.
Commissioner Oliver?
Here.
All right, proclamation. I guess they gave that to them, the Blind American Equality Day, October the 15th. All right, financial presentation. Set the clock for 5 minutes for zero-based budgeting. Mr. Moore.
Good evening.
Another Nick.
You got it.
My name is Jim Moyer. First of all, I want to thank the mayor pro temp, and the commissioners for allowing me to make this presentation. I also want to thank the city clerk's office, Melanie and her wonderful group of people for all they've helped me with, setting this up and everything else, and the city attorney for the several times he read emails I sent into the commission. I've entitled this presentation, Financial and Operational Food for Thought for a Growing City. And I'm throwing out two different concepts, zero-based budgeting and internal auditing. My name again is Jim Moyer. My family and I are citizens of Ocoee, and we're residents of Arden Park North. The first slide here is just some extracts from the Ocoee official website. You know very well, better than me, some of this content. I'm just basically showing it to you so you're aware that I'm aware of it. And I considered it during this presentation and why I went in this direction. First, we're going to start out talking about zero-based budgeting. This chart shows the difference between traditional budgeting and zero-based budgeting. Now, you folks just got done your budgeting process, and I don't want to speak for anybody, but I'm sure you're saying, thank God. Sometimes budgeting can be very tedious, but historically, most places do budgeting on a historical basis. What did we do last year with some adjustments here or there or whatever it may be? Zero-based budgeting is you start from scratch. You don't have any employees, you don't have any costs, zero. Everything starts at zero. So it's similar to what they call a needs analysis. And you, the department or whomever is doing the zero-based budgeting, they're going to have to justify everything. And I'm going to go to the next slide here. There's many benefits of zero-based budgeting. You have more control of the department's budget, the expenses, especially in a fast-growing city such as yourself. The huge drawback why a lot of organizations don't use zero-based budgeting is it can be extremely time-consuming. That's why I would suggest if, when, and how you implement something like this, you do it on a rotation basis, where you might consider doing one department 1 year, another department another year, and go through the whole cycle of departments. Again, I can't guarantee it, but I would be very, very surprised if everyone involved wouldn't be think that it's a very beneficial process to go back and justify department by department every expense, every employee. Could be more employees that you need. Could be less employees. It really depends, but there has to be justification. I'm going to move on now to internal auditing. This is internal auditing versus external auditing. I see I'm running short on time, sorry about that. External auditing, as you know, basically is an independent entity expressing an opinion on the fairness of the financial statements of the organization that management is responsible for preparing. Now, an internal auditing is you would have an employee or someone else that you bring in that looks at things in much more detail than an external auditor does. They don't get into the nitty-gritty. Internal auditing, next slide, I know I'm almost done. I want to draw your attention real quickly to the types of internal audits. There's compliance, there's financial, I'm sorry.
I'm going to give you, I'm going to give 5 more minutes.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. These are the different, I want to talk about the different types of internal auditing. And this is broader than just operational audit. And it's much more detailed than your external audit. You can have a financial audit where you go into one specific department, find out in detail what the controls may be. You can have an internal audit where you look at a computer system. Is this computer system outdated? Do you need a brand new computer system? Do you need it adjusted in some way? You can have a performance audit where it's determined whether or not the performance of one particular activity or one particular department is functioning the way you want it to be. It can be a compliance audit. You want certain areas to do certain things. Well, an internal auditor would go in and independently verify whether or not they are doing what you want them to do. There can be an environmental audit as well, because as you know, the environment is very important, especially in the city of Ocoee, where there's a lot of progress being made as far as development in land that may have environmental factors involved. My suggestion, if you were to pursue internal auditing, that you would go about it maybe cost center. The manner in which you would go about it is find the right person. One possibility is I'm aware that the last session each commissioner was given $10,000. Now I understand that's for outside organizations, maybe Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, or whatever it may be, but if a commissioner may have chosen, maybe they're a little uncomfortable, they want a second opinion on a specific area of the operation of the city, or a computer system that they're not entirely comfortable with. You could go out and hire either an employee or enter into a contract with someone. I would suggest using someone that's very flexible. Maybe a retired professional, though. I would strongly advise that the person is a professional that complies with internal auditing standards, meaning that they're independent of the area in which they're auditing and they're objective. And any type of auditor, there's three things that always has to be done. The audit has to be planned. There has to be what's called field work, which is you have to go out and get evidence to prove what's going on, no matter what area you're doing, procedures in the field work, et cetera, and make a report. In professional auditing, there always must be a report. Now, if you chose to do an internal auditing where that person would report within your organization, of course, would be entirely up to you. But generally speaking, internal auditors report very high up in the chain of command. In private sector, oftentimes to the audit committee of a board of directors. So again, these are just some concepts, some food for thought for a very, very fast-growing city. I live off of Clarconia Ocoee Road. I'm familiar with Ocoee Village Center. I see every day how impressive 429 could be to get to all the areas in Orlando, et cetera, a hotel there, et cetera. With the growth of this city, I just think these are two concepts that the commission may want to consider sometime in the future. Thank you so much, and God bless all of you.
Thank you very much. I think, appreciate it very much. I think we can read this through too. We got the sheets here, so maybe we can all, I know your number's not on there, but if anybody wanted to email you or.
Absolutely.
Maybe you can give that to Ms. Seaver, Sherry, our secretary, and that way we could be able to get a hold of you, if you don't mind.
Oh, yes, sir. I've given my card before, but
Yeah.
I will again. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that way, anybody that has any questions or comments, then we got this to go through, and then we can call you and talk with you.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate the extra time, too.
No, sorry about that. I wanted to give you a little more, so.
Thank you.
You
I
did a good
do
job.
have a question, though.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned zero-based budgeting systems. Then you also mentioned internal and external audits. So could you explain, is there a difference between the three, or would the zero-based budget system be an internal or external type of audit?
Well, these were just two concepts I expressed. The one concept being zero-based budgeting versus traditional budgeting.
Okay.
The second entirely different concept is internal auditing versus external auditing. And I'm sorry, Commissioner, I didn't hear your question really well.
No, I just wondering whether there's a difference between the three that you identified. You identified the zero-based budgeting first, and you talked about that versus traditional budgeting. And then you went into internal versus external auditing. And I was just trying to determine the difference between the two types that you identified.
Well, one is part of the budgeting process, and the other would be part of auditing within the departments and looking closer. It's been mentioned before in conversations that there's a lot of questions come up on different things. Okay, if you use zero-based budgeting, that can answer some questions over time. If you use internal audits, you can get at the root of different questions you may have, whether it's performance, whether or not people are complying with your directives, whether or not there's any environmental issues being, whether or not there's efficiently and effectively a particular operation is taking place. And sometimes you can go, possibility is going across department lines, which you may look at an activity that Department A has and Department B has, Department C has, is it going efficiently, that particular activity, is it being efficiently processed from one department to the next department to the next department?
And one last quick question.
Yes, sir.
My interest when it comes to any type of audit is how do we, based on these type of audits that you identified, which one would you recommend to allow us to mitigate financial risk? That is the biggest one for me. How do we mitigate financial risk when it comes to our budget and how we actually perform our budgeting?
There are different types of risk. External auditors look some at financial risk. If you wanted to go deeper into it, you could use an internal audit to look at risk. But there's also operational risk. For example, let's say you don't have the key phone numbers to the people that need to know during a catastrophe. I mean, that's more operational. There's really no financial component to that. So there's operational risk, there's financial risk. If you want to get into a lot of detail and dig deep, internal auditing would do that. I don't know if it's a mandate that you do external audits or not. I know in some SEC, large corporation, it's mandated. I don't know if you have some sort of mandate to do an external audit or not, but I believe you do one. Is that correct? You have one done. But they're looking at the fairness of the financial statements. They protect the shareholders, okay? The equivalent of shareholders, in my view, in a government is the citizenry. So the external audit in a broad base is looking at whether or not the financial statements are fairly presented. But if you want to go into details of looking at risk, that's internal audit.
Okay. Awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, staff reports, Rob.
I have nothing at this time, Mayor.
Okay, commissioners' announcements. Commissioner Brinson,
Nothing at this time.
Commissioner Oliver,
Nothing at this time.
Commissioner Firstner,
Not this time.
Commissioner Wilson.
Not at this time.
All right, I got to read the public comment announcement here. Due to COVID-19, City Hall is closed to the public, which is subject to change based on the governor's executive order. All interested parties are invited to be heard during the public comments and public hearing portion of the meeting. And the city requests the public call or email comments and or questions to 407-554-7118 or citizens@ocoee.org. City staff will be standing by to ensure that your comments or questions come before the city commission during the meeting. We need to read the other one too, Scott?
No, I think we're good.
All right, okay, thank you. All right, public comments. I got one here, and I don't know, Melody, do you, it's from,
That can be heard at the end, that's for,
Okay.
request for
all right,
food truck.
it doesn't explain what she, it just says she wants to
Oh,
have
I'm
a,
sorry, it's for request to hold a food drive.
where at? Doesn't say it.
You know,
Oh. All right. Oh, that's a big place. All right. Announcements. In remembrance of the 100-year anniversary of the 1920 Ocoee Election Day Massacre, the City of Ocoee HRDB will present a 4-day memorial and educational symposium on November the 1st, 4th, 6th, and 8th at the Ocoee Lakeshore Center. This event is open to the public. For more information, please visit the city's website at www.ocoee.org. Also, just a quick comment. One of our developers in town has donated $20,000 also. So I turned that over to the diversity board. They're going to be giving it to the city. I guess they already have put in the bank. So we got another that developer put in $20,000 towards the diversity thing for November, that week of November. All right, and that is City Center, if you want to know. They've been a participant in everything we do, so that was pretty gracious of them.
You're here.
All right, consent agenda. Any comments? Motions?
Make a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion to approve items 1 through 11. Commissioner Wilson, do I hear a second?
I have a question, I'm sorry, about an item on the consent agenda. I don't necessarily need to pull it, but I just do have a question
Which
about
one?
it. On item number 3, do we still have the Ocoee Little League, or is it another name now? I know that,
It's
this
on here.
informa-
We have
What are you
a-
referring?
It's called Babe Ruth League.
Okay, because I was reading it, I'm like,
Yeah.
it said Ocoee Little League, and I
No,
didn't
it's
know
Babe
that
Ruth
we still
League.
had that.
Babe-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that may need to be an administrative change somewhere down the road to change that to the right name. Okay, that's it.
All right, do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Oliver. Any more comments on the consent agenda? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like side. Motion carries. All right, going to item 12. Item 12. First reading of ordinance amending the City of Ocoee Municipal General Employees Retirement Trust Fund reflecting changes for compliance with setting ever community up retirement enhancement. I think Chairman Cowan's here. But I
Yeah,
don't
this
know.
is just first
reading.
reading. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida relating to the City of Ocoee Municipal General Employees Retirement Trust Fund, adopted by ordinance number 2009-20 as subsequently amended, amending Section 15 minimum distribution of benefits to provide for compliance with the Secure Act, providing for severability of provisions, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
All right, the second reading will be October the 20th. It's a regular meeting, starting at 6:15. All right, item number 13. First reading of ordinance amending the City of Ocoee Police Officers and Firefighters Retirement Trust Fund reflecting changes for compliance with setting every community up retirement enhancement.
All right, this is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida relating to the City of Ocoee Municipal Police Officers and Firefighters Retirement Trust Fund, amending ordinance number 2010-19 as subsequently amended, amending Section 16, minimum distribution of benefits to provide for compliance with the Secure Act, providing for severability of provisions, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
Okay, that same thing, that'll be read again on October for the second reading on October the 20th, 2020, 6:15 at City Hall. All right, we're down to let's see.
14.
We didn't do 14 yet, did we? Nope. 14, second reading of ordinance to consider the public school facilities element large-scale comprehensive plan amendment. Director Rumor, is he here? Is Mike Rumor in the back?
I haven't seen it.
Here he comes down the
Here
hallway.
he comes.
We try to give him a little exercise while they were.
So Mayor, thank you. This is an adoption of an ordinance amending the comprehensive plan of the City of Ocoee. This is the text that deals with the capacity enhancement process within the City of Ocoee. If you recall, we've had conversations about the school capacity issues, and the way that the school board and Orange County and municipalities came to resolve it was to remove the capacity enhancement process. And the school board is just solely going to evaluate schools for rezonings and land use amendments for capacity. It will trigger a new joint jurisdictional process that the counties and municipalities and the school board will work together. We had our first meeting today. As of right now, this process is abated. The school board already took the first step by removing capacity enhancements from their processes, so it's no longer a viable option. We brought to this commission an ordinance to transmit the text to the Department of Economic Opportunity, and that was reviewed by the state and surrounding agencies, and there was no comments provided. So the existing comprehensive plan text says we can't approve a land use amendment or rezoning without a CEA, a capacity enhancement agreement. Our new language that we transmitted, and I have here, just says the school board, we will look at the school board to help us with capacity, make that determination, and from that point, we will look at that, and we will utilize that in our decisions to approve or move forward on a project that is rezoning or a land use amendment to increase density. What then it will mean, and I'll bring this back to you after we work further with the county, is a process where the county, and if there's another city that has students generated to that school, a process where you basically look at it and say yes or no, you're okay with the project going forward. And if there's any possible way to provide a mitigation would be stated at that time. So today what I'm asking you to do is adopt this ordinance, changing the text. It really just takes the term capacity enhancement agreement out of our comprehensive plan so we can continue to move forward with land use amendments and rezonings. Thank you.
Okay. We'll open the public hearing first. Anybody in the public have any comments on second reading of ordinance to reconsider the public school facilities element, large-scale comprehensive plan? All right, close the public hearing, bring it back to the dais. Anybody have any comments? Or do I hear a motion?
I have a question. Mike?
Yes, sir.
Is this going to take place on the Planning and Zoning Board committee level, the review?
No. Well, the first meeting was held today, and I haven't even had a chance to brief the city manager's office. But what they're looking at is a process where the impacted jurisdictions, it would go straight to their commission. It would not be seen by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Mayor, let me go ahead and read the title of this ordinance before you consider it. This is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, amending the City of Ocoee Comprehensive Plan as adopted in 1991 as amended, amending the public school facility element, Objective 1.3, Policy 1.3.1 of the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan to amend the public school facility element, updating language to require the city to seek input from Orange County Public Schools relating to school capacity where a developer-initiated comprehensive plan amendment or rezoning will increase residential density, removing the requirement for a capacity enhancement agreement, providing for transmittal, authorizing the revision of the city comprehensive plan, providing for severability, providing for an effective date.
Mayor, I just wanted to announce to you that we didn't receive any emails or phone calls.
No emails from the public? Okay, thank you. All right. Any more comments? Any more comments? I need a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the change to the ordinance as stated.
All right. Motion made by Commissioner Brinson. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Firstman. Any more comments? No more comments. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like side. Motion carries unanimously. All right, thank you. Now we go to number 15. You staying up there, right?
I'm staying up here, yes.
All right, second reading of ordinance for Ocoee Village Center, PUD, substantial amendment to the planned unit development, PUD, developer, Director Rubin.
Yeah, so with the action you just took by amending the comprehensive plan, this action now made the Ocoee Village Center PUD that was approved by this board back in June of 2019, conditioned upon working out a mitigation with the school board on the CEA. It has been stuck. It was one of 18 projects within the county that was stuck based off the change in the law and impact fees. So the ordinances for the land use amendment and rezonings to create the Ocoee Village Center are now effective, and now I'm bringing before you an amendment to that PUD, and subsequently behind it, preliminary and final site plans for some elements of the plan unit development.
All right, you got to read one here too, Scott? Go ahead and let you read that.
We do.
first.
You want to do that? You have more on the staff report?
I've got more.
He's not done with the staff report.
Go ahead. I thought you were done. You quit.
Okay, so the plan unit, so the amendment to the plan unit development, the location of it again is it's on Clare-Ocoee Road, North Lakewood at the terminus of Fuller's Cross Road and State Road 429. It takes in 3 parcels over 72 acres. The development was approved for over 150,000 square feet of commercial, 196 townhomes, and 316 apartment units. The request to amend the PD before you tonight is to change the unit count from the townhomes from 196 to 232, and the apartments from 316 units to 320, increase of 40 units. Now, one of the big considerations when you're looking at amending a PD is what is the substantial amendment of that for? Is it adding access points? Is it increasing density? Is it adding uses? And in this case, I just wanted to bring it to your attention that the original traffic study, back when the developer was talking to me about this project a couple years ago, was more intense. And so much so that it contemplated 350 apartments and 240 townhomes, which is under the threshold of this amendment. So this amendment still falls under the traffic study that we discussed with you and showed you the traffic improvements. As well, I wanted to point out that the roundabout that I'll show you, proposed at Fuller's Cross Road and North Lakewood Avenue, is an improvement that with staff, the developer recognized that this is a benefit for Ocoee. It provides more traffic circulation. It looks more urban, and it provides us a maintenance-free intersection where we're not having to worry about signals going out and signal timing. Now, it did eat up more land that the developer had, but this roundabout is proposed. And then as part of the interchange character area, he is providing 2 east-west public road connections, creating that east-west connectability, providing the opportunity to create these blocks, when I'll show you in the rest of the target in the character area, which will move more walkers and bicyclists and cars more freely and more safely. This is an aerial of the property. It's planted pines. Under the final development pattern, some of these roads will be vacated and changed. This was the original plan unit development approved. And you had the apartments, you have the retail in front of the apartments on the north side of Clare-Ocoee Road. You have the retail on the south side of Clare-Ocoee Road. This realigned North Lakewood, presently it comes up and makes that hard right turn. This realigned North Lakewood Avenue is as I said, it's a complete streets section. It has walkable sidewalks, wide walks. It has traffic calming, so you know that the pedestrian and the bicyclist, this is a place where they can freely habitate the area safely. We have the future connection. All right, let me get the mouse to work. Okay. We have the extension of 2nd Avenue, and we have in the original PUD, there was not an extension of 5th Avenue. This is the new revised plan unit development. Now the developer, as part of the working through the capacity enhancement process, he has the apartment builder. We have the apartment plans, which is another project after this you'll see. We have the hard apartment setup. You still have the retail with the hotel location. We have the southeast retail, which is on the agenda today. And we have the townhome units. Now they have the townhome developer. We made the connection to the extra connection. Before you just had 2nd, now you have the 5th Avenue connection. to create that ability to move people and residents without having to go around, go to Adair Street or go up to Claricona Ocoee. And with the engineering and with the amenities, they were able to get more units. Just want to show you, this is the area of the interchange character area, and when I overlay the character area on there, you can see many resemblances that the developer did. We have the apartments and retail up here. This interchange really looked at opportunities for residential. So we're creating these future east-west connections so people will not have to necessarily go on Fuller's Cross or North Lakewood. They'll be able to move around, they'll be able to live and shop and just do it on foot or by bicycle. And again, to show you what the plan is that we have here. Another benefit of this development is bringing utilities from around the Montessori school. They're bringing public utilities all the way up to the north side of Claricona Ocoee Road with lift station, now providing all of these properties access to potable water and sewer that's not there presently. And there's also a reclaim extension that'll be coming from the 429 through the property, bringing reclaim in the area. This is showing you sort of the phase one with the roundabout, the realigned North Lakewood Avenue, the extension of 2nd Avenue, the public stormwater parks and ponds that'll be needed to utilize the public road. It's not a good depiction, but this is the roundabout. You can see it had to eat into the developer's property in order to facilitate the roundabout that meets DOT standards. Another benefit, another requirement of the character area is providing public space. This is one of the stormwater ponds that's needed for the project for the public roads. We had the Ocoee Urban Design Studio in-house design this park and its features and its implementations and equipment. And we are going to have a really nice park. We are looking, once the project gets under development, we'll be looking at the materials for the park. We'll be looking at the reclaim, like I mentioned, and we'll be bringing back a development agreement kind of addressing these more closely. But this development will provide a public park, which is functioning as a stormwater park, but it'll be a public park. With that, I'll have the applicant do his presentation.
Yeah, but
Again, for the record, my name is Richard Wolfarth. I'm with the Wolfarth Consulting Group and also with the Ocoee Development 4. We are the developers and also the engineers for the project. Glad to be here again. We've been very active here in Ocoee, starting off a few years ago with Spring Lake and then going up to McCormick and then down over to Ocoee Village, or Ocoee, getting old, I guess, our project over off of Clark Road. The Ocoee Village is sort of the next step up. It is a mixed-use project. It is a combination of 73 acres. And we're really excited, as Mike has pointed out, is that we started this process close to 2 years ago. And we made some really good progress. And we got our approvals from this board for most of what you're seeing here tonight back about a year and a half ago. And then the schools, unfortunately, had an issue. And as the school issue was resolving itself, we then hit COVID. So, it's been a long trail getting us to where we are tonight. But the one important part about the project that we can point out is that, as Mike showed you, it's a pine forested area. We're right along 429. We're right along a major road, Claricona Ocoee. And the benefits, we think of that when you start looking at traffic. A lot of our traffic has direct access to major improvements that are already in place. During the traffic study, however, as Mike showed you, we had a few more units in the study, but I did point out there were 2 deficiencies. The one deficiency is being taken care of with the city's improvement over off of Ocoee Road to the west of us. And then obviously we had what was going to be a 4-lane road at our corner. And with the help of the staff, the Public Works Department, we realized that for benefit of everybody to improve the traffic flow was to put the roundabout in. We think that'll be a really nice addition. It will help our traffic flow, which obviously is gonna be beneficial to our residents and all the existing residents that are out there today. We also looked at the fact that, with this being a high growth corridor, that this will provide additional types of housing. We will have some great apartments that are actually blending in with the community. This is not a gated community. This is part of the community. Same with the townhouses. It's not a gated community. It's part of the community. And I think when you look at the product that we're proposing in a few moments, I think you'll see that it's a very exciting product that we will all be proud of here. And it's all tied together with the commercial. Before I forget, the developer of the townhomes will be Park Square. It's a regional builder here located in Orlando. Been very active and have done quite a few projects. The commercial is Conover South. Conover South has had some activity in the area. Bob Bernard in the audience is with the developer. And I'll explain a little bit more about where we are today on that. But one of the biggest concerns I think Mike raised with us early on was we didn't want to go ahead and build an entire residential community and then maybe someday the commercial would show up. The way this is working out, the commercial is going almost at the same speed as the residential. In addition to that, Kurt Cahoe is here with NRP. NRP is one of the largest apartment developers in the country, and Kurt and their company have done quite a few projects here in the area. And we're excited about the product, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a few moments. The aerial view, again, Mike has shown you where we're located, right at the corner of 429 and Claricona Ocoee. And you start to see how this all ties together with the major roads that are in the area, right next to the golf course. This is what it looks like today. It's, again, the existing roadways are 2-lane. As you know, as you come off of Claricona Ocoee, you have to make that really hard right, which is very awkward. So we feel that what we're proposing to take this property and then go through this a little quicker here, and then to be able to take the plan as you see it there and realign the road to where it has a nice smooth entrance going right down to the roundabout and then connecting the properties to the east of us. We feel that will provide a good traffic flow for the development and for the adjacent areas. There's 552 units total, of which 320 are apartments and 232 are townhomes. And again, as it relates to the item of the amendments tonight, it's for a total of 40 units. The other units have been looked at in the past. Our proposal on the commercial, which I know is a very important part, is we do have service station, grocery stores, hotels, banks, medical, full service restaurants, fast food, and other retail areas. What I'm really happy to say tonight is, though, we have currently what is referred to as a C-store. It is a 7-Eleven, but it is their newest prototype that actually has a restaurant built into it. So we're really excited to see them coming on board. We have a large retail center next door, and we were all set to start construction on that with the 7-Eleven, but fortunately what's happened in the last 3 to 4 months is one of the major grocery stores in the state has stepped up, and we now have an agreement to build a 40,000 square foot grocery store on the southwest corner and to add additional retail next to it. So we're sort of going back and forth. We only have room for maybe 10 to 15,000 square feet of retail immediately. So we're thinking that if the grocery store keeps going the way we hope it will, that we'll put the retail on the west side. So we'll start really on the southeast corner and the southwest corner. Now, in addition, what has been happening, I think we all recognize that the need of hotels is sort of diminished with COVID. So we've looked at other options. We still have a hotel option, but we've moved it to the northeast corner. What has happened is we have gotten a strong request for medical office and medical urgent cares, and we now are looking potentially putting that on the northwest corner. So we're in a state of flux, but we think that when all the dust settles, we'll see an awful lot of the commercial activities happening right up front. There's again, they're showing you the site plan and the changes that have been made. This is sort of a review from the south looking to the north, and what you can see here is the roundabout over here going up to the north. We've smoothed out the road completely. We've tied everything back into Claricona, Ocoee. Traffic light will be upgraded, and then so this will have a real nice flow in here. And then the residents from the east will be able to come down 5th or come down 2nd Avenue and avoid having to go out to Claricona, Ocoee. This is a view, again, approaching the clubhouse at the, on the apartment side. One of the things that NRP does very well is they do a very upgraded facility. So what you'll see there is again, a full pool, cabana, barbecues, all the things that you would expect to be in almost in a resort living type of an area. But they do a very nice job. And you get a feeling of that when you see this is actually a rendering of the plan that's currently that we'll talk about here in a few moments. This is a little blow up showing the cabana, the fire pits, the pools, but I think you'll be very pleased with this. And again, it's these are 4-story units or 4-story buildings with elevators. This is not your standard 3-story walk-up apartment, so it is an upgraded. And the one thing in working with Peter and with staff here is that if you look at the master plan, you start getting a feel for it, it's more of a point of entry. We're not just simply throwing a bunch of buildings on the ground. As you drive into the community, going up to the pool and the cabana, it feels like the buildings are right there and the walkways have all been tied together. We have extraordinarily wide walkways everywhere through the community, so you'll be able to walk anywhere you want to go here, and we think that's a real nice feature. This is sort of a rendering of the park that Mike showed you from a few moments ago. Been working with staff, and we're excited about getting involved and getting that park going sooner than later. This is, again, an architectural rendering of the buildings, but again, as you see, they're 4-story, they all have elevators, they've all been upgraded, and we feel that'll be a nice addition. Now, the other part about the project, what benefits, is that when all of the projects are done, everything is completed, we believe that we'll be adding $135 million to the base ad valorem tax here in the city. Now, that relates back when you take the tax rate for just the city, about $750,000 a year. So it's quite an increase in the benefit of what we're building will benefit the city and the other residents. This is just showing the level of service. We have exceeded or met all of those. All the water, sewer, wastewater has been accounted for in the system. We've been working with utilities. At the end of the day, the total impact fees that will be paid by this project is a little over $7 million. We have $2 million worth of school impacts. In fact, that's now going up to closer to $3 million with all the changes. We got $2.2 million in road impact fees, $800,000 in recreational fees, $322,000 in police fees, and $418,000. That will all be part, and as the project is being built, that $7 million will be paid to the city of Ocoee. Overall, when you look at between water charges, impact fees, and all the things involved, this project has an $11 million, $530,000 benefit to the city. The traffic study was prepared by the Transportation Planning Group. They did a very thorough study. We think we've identified where there were issues, and where there were issues that we could fix, we did. And in fact, we went above and beyond when we did the roundabout. This is just showing some of the trips that were involved. So we did look at the capacity, we looked at the current ADT, and what we were showing is that there is adequate capacity in all the roads to service this project. The two intersections below, this is I mentioned before, is Fuller's Cross and Ocoee October Road. That's the improvement that's currently being done with the city. And then we will do the roundabout at Fuller's Cross and Lakewood Avenue. Our conclusions are that we have 3 connections to the West Orange Trail that are directly through existing bike lanes. We have a lot of linear park walkways for people to get in and around to enjoy what we're hopefully going to be seeing here. We've interconnected our project with 6, 8, 10-foot wide walks in the entire community. We have bike lanes that are being relocated on North Lakewood Avenue to match up the bike lanes that are already on Claricona and Ocoee. And all the roadways and intersections will operate at the acceptable level of service. As Mike pointed out a few moments ago, we did start with the interchange village overlay, and we believe that we've tried to and have incorporated the majority of those attributes into our project. Our design principles, again, this is following the guidelines that we were given. We believe that we've met those, the designs, and working with Peter, especially in the on the apartment site, we've come up with a project that has now matched what the intention was when the guidelines were developed. And then our request tonight is, as far as the initial request, is to just increase the land use, or not, sorry, increase the PUD zoning so that we have the additional 4 apartments and the additional 36 townhomes for a total of 40 additional units. And then later on, we'll talk about the actual plans for each of the projects.
All right, you want to discuss it up here before we open the public hearing? You want to do the public hearing?
And that'll also carry forward to my other presentations, what he discussed on the apartments, so that'll shorten those up.
All right, this is an ordinance of the City of Ocoee, Florida, approving a substantial amendment to the land use plan for Ocoee Village Center PUD for certain real property containing approximately 73.17 acres, located on the north and south sides of Clarcona-Ocoee Road, east side of State Road 429 Expressway, north, south, and east sides of North Lakewood Avenue, and at the eastern terminus of Fuller's Cross Road and North Lakewood Avenue, finding consistency with the Ocoee Comprehensive Plan, repealing inconsistent ordinances, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
All right, I'm going to open the public hearing. Let anybody in the public have any comments to make on this item 15, I'm sorry, 15 for Ocoee Village Center.
Mayor, I just want to announce we did not receive any emails or any calls.
All right, thank you. No comments from the public. All right, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the dais. Anybody on the dais, comments, please?
I have a couple of questions and comments. First, I want to thank Mr. Wilford for coming back and giving us that update on that presentation. Obviously, I think the last time we spoke was here in the commission when we talked about what that does for our community, that project. I think it's going to be fabulous. I do have a couple of questions, however. One is regarding the roundabout. And Mike may be able to answer this. You can come on up, please. Is that roundabout able to accommodate commercial vehicles, to include school buses and things like that easily?
Yeah. Yes, there's a standard FDOT layout for roundabouts in order to meet those circulation for those trucks. And DOT constructed a couple of those in DeLand, one on 42 coming into DeLand and one in DeLand near a Walmart, and they operate wonderfully. So they meet DOT standard in order to incorporate the trucks and the buses. Yes.
Okay, because I've gone through a couple of roundabouts here and got stuck behind some vehicles that was kind of blocking up the roundabout.
Yes.
It clogged the roundabout to the point where it kind of defeated the purpose of putting a roundabout there. Okay, I think that was my only question.
Okay, anybody else?
Just a quick comment. Again, we spoke months ago about this, and I'm happy to see the infrastructure put in place that will accommodate traffic going out to Clarcona, Ocoee. Just looking at the financial piece of this, we look at about $7 million coming back to the city. That probably covers about a little over half of our city hall. So for that bond we got out there, we can cover half of that bond just on this project alone. So just looking at it from another perspective, that's all. But thank you so much.
Anybody else, commissioners?
No, I'm good.
All right, what I'd say is that what amazes me is the school board tax thing that we pay out. I mentioned it before over the years when the school board gives us a hard time about some of the stuff about building some schools without the added trailers out there. You're talking about almost $2 million off just one project, maybe going up to $3 million or something. So I think they need to do some looking at their planning stages too, because we can't even get another middle school in this town, for another 5 to 10 years. So we need to take and see if we can keep pushing on that agenda to get them to do something. All right. All right, you want us to go ahead and make the motion now?
Yeah, yes.
I need a motion for item 15.
I'll make that motion that we approve the amendments to this site plan.
I second it.
Motion made by Commissioner Brinson, seconded by Commissioner Oliver. Any more comments? No more comments? Let's, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. No, motion carries unanimously. All right. 16, let's go to preliminary final large-scale site plan for Ocoee Village Center. Allure at Ocoee Village Center.
Yes, and I won't labor on it, Mayor. This is on the northern part of this northern wedge. It will have commercial in the front, but this is the Allure Apartments, a 320-unit apartment with a 10,000 square foot clubhouse. It'll have a mixture, 90% 1 2 bedroom, with 10% being 3 bedroom units. As Rick said, it's 4-story elevator. The portion of North Lakewood from Clare Ocoee will be a public road up to this point, running perpendicular to the commercial. And then as you enter into the apartment property, it'll be a drive aisle, but it is not a gated. It's an open campus, even though you're not going to travel through it and go to the 429. But it'll really have this really long boulevard. It has a really nice landscape median with the palms in soldier form. You've got, you're looking at, from Clare Ocoee, you'll be looking at the sides of the buildings, the apartment buildings. The apartments on the east side overlook the golf course. You have a dog park. Yeah, this is the amenity center, and you've got ponds in between the 429 and the units. It's really going to be top-notch. You've seen the elevations for it already. Again, this is a preliminary and final site plan approval. We recommend approval, subject to just answering some final comments from staff. There's no ordinance with this one, Mayor.
All open to the public. Anybody in the public want any comments or have any comments on this issue, on item 16?
Mayor, I'll just announce we did not receive any emails or any phone calls for this.
All right, nobody has any comments. All right, I'm gonna close the public hearing, bring it back to the dais. I need a motion.
Make that motion?
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
You seconded that?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Brinson. No more comments? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right. 17. Preliminary final large-scale site plan for Ocoee Village Center, southeast commercial.
Yeah, it's primarily going to be in this section that you see in the aerial. And as Rick said, the southeast retail right now will be constructed in phase 1. This is the 7-Eleven, which has the restaurant inside. It's more of that racetrack and Wawa feel. And then you have the retail center and then a pad for a quick service restaurant. Looking at this plan, they had constructing all the infrastructure, constructing the retail, and making that quick serve restaurant pad ready. But as Rick said, if this grocery store comes through, sign an agreement, they would build the retail adjacent to the grocery store, and this would just be a pad to be future retail when it comes in. So they'd still build the infrastructure, the cross-access, the landscape islands. They'd just be more pad ready. And so with this plan, it's not only constructing the extension of 2nd Avenue and these improvements to the lot, including the 7-Eleven, but it may include this retail, it may not, and then it makes the pad for the phase 2 a quick serve restaurant when that comes in.
Are you good with that?
Yes.
I want to ask you a question. On that 2nd Avenue, that comes out of the county park.
Yes, to the
Are we
east
going to
is
do
still.
any kind of improvement in there? Because that's kind of close quarters. I mean, that 2nd Avenue, you're talking about coming out behind the church?
2nd and
Little
5th,
church,
yes.
Back out through there.
Yes, so
No sidewalks, nothing in that place.
Yes, so he'll tie into the terminus of 2nd and 5th, but that's still unincorporated Orange County. It gives us the opportunity, running water on, I'll
Yeah.
show you in the townhomes, he's running water all the way to Fifth, and that will open up opportunities for those properties to have
Yeah.
a reason to annex into the city,
The other
so
question I would ask you, have you notified those people?
we have not notified, no.
I would,
I mean, only in the sense that they received the 300-foot notice.
Yeah.
And they had an opportunity
Right.
to look, but to say that the road's gonna come in there
nobody's asked
yet, not
questions
yet.
or anything?
No, no.
None?
We'll,
Okay.
we'll pay attention to that when he does the
Okay,
site work.
Just asking. All right, do we need to open the public hearing on this one?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to open the public hearing. Anybody have any comments on item 17 for the Ocoee Village Southeast Commercial? No comments. Close it up, come back to the dais. I need a motion.
Mayor,
Any
I'll just
comments?
announce that we didn't receive any emails or any phone calls.
All right, thank you. No comments or emails. Do I hear any comments from up here? If not, I need a motion.
Just a quick question. The, you mentioned phases. How many total phases will these projects be, and what is the timeline?
Starting from south to north, the townhomes we'll be doing in 2 phases. We'll be building everything on the west side, and then as those units are being sold, we'll then progress towards the east, towards the Fifth Avenue area. As far as the commercial, it's a state of flux. We know we're building the 7-Eleven up front. We believe the next thing that will get built, probably simultaneously, will be the grocery store and the retail on the west side. If we get the input that we think we're getting already on the medical, that could be the next one. So as that one's going to float a little bit more as demand comes in there. On the apartments all get built at the same time. So all 320 apartments will start, and then building by building they'll be finished. So that's really, I would call that one phase by itself. So what we will do to start is we will be building the realignment of all the roads, putting all the utilities in, starting the western side of the towns, starting the southeast commercial, potentially the grocery store, and starting all the apartments. That would be our initial phase of work out there.
One last question. You mentioned the infrastructure, laying out infrastructure first. One of the things that we always talk about infrastructure, or we always fail to omit, but I'm sure this is something that you probably run into, and the question I have is, when we talk about infrastructure, what about cell phone towers and like 5G access, those kind of things? Do you ever have to have conversations or engineering studies or surveys when it comes to developing, when you look at an area, maybe like a square radius of an area that you're building in, do you ever have to consider cell phone coverage?
We have not, and we've had contact with AT&T, with CenturyLink and others, and they've not expressed an interest in a cell tower on our site. We have been working with Duke Power, and we've also worked with Spectrum. So all the dry utilities are all planned for, and we're progressing, but we have not talked to anybody directly about 5G or about cell towers.
You know, the further we move north in our city, the further we move like northeast or northwest, cell phone coverage seems to be diminishing. And as the developers start developing those areas, I was just hoping one day we can start maybe reaching out to some of the carriers to say, hey, well, maybe you want to put a tower or some kind of new age, device or tower in the area that will provide coverage, particularly for cell phones as well as cabling and internet access.
Well, the latter we have covered. What I will do, Commissioner Oliver, is I'll look into between AT&T and CenturyLink and with Spectrum and Verizon, see what plans they have and where their tower coverage is. I just haven't done it, but obviously we want good coverage for the residents, so we'll look into that.
Thank you.
Just want to add, I haven't been in discussions with Verizon. They're looking for a site over near the Clark Road area. They have a lapse in an area there, but they're looking at the city in its entirely, and they've identified one area in the Clark Road, the road that the school's on. It escapes me right now, right there off Clark, but the road that has the elementary school on it. Hackney Prairie, yes. In that area, they have a bubble that they need coverage. With regards to the 5G, by state law, the carriers have the right to put them within our right-of-way, and we work with them. And what is nice about this project, providing the complete streets, he's providing a wider road to not only handle the wide sidewalks, but it's the green space because the sidewalks are going to meander through there. And so there will be ample space under a nice, appropriate sized pole to locate the 5G at such time. But there's a lot of companies looking at 5G locations in the city. And we've done a couple, one on McGuire Road, one on Roberson, but they contact us all the time. They just have not, as these rooftops get more and more up here, I think it'll find more opportunity.
Well, hopefully you can talk to them about McCormick up in the northern part of the city of McCormick.
Okay.
The cell phone coverage is horrible there,
Oh, yeah?
very
Okay.
horrible.
The question I had was on the 7-Eleven restaurant piece, because I don't think I've ever seen one. So I don't know if you had an example of what it looked like.
It's brand new. It doesn't exist.
Okay, well, that's probably why it is.
What 7-Eleven has finally realized, in order to compete, as Mike said, with the Wawas and the racetracks, they had to come in with something. So it's a Mexican brand restaurant. The normal 7-Eleven is about 3,500 feet. This is 4,400 square feet. So they've added quite a bit of space to the building in order to accommodate an indoor or inside kitchen. So it is a new prototype, and we'll be seeing it here for the first time.
Okay, thank you.
I would say that we had back years ago, we had a lot of discussions. I don't know if Commissioner Wilson might have been here about towers. There was some ordinances about towers too. So when you plan these things, we need them in areas where it's not going to be out in the houses or apartments and places. So you don't want them stuck in those developments. You might somewhere on the golf course or even over there on the property Winter Garden has in that sewer, the water drain off place. So we really don't want to stick them in the middle of a nice development.
And you wouldn't know it, but we receive a lot of permits to update the antennas on the existing towers. All the time they're changing them out, and they get more efficient with those as well.
All right. That was item number 17, wasn't it?
Yes.
All right, I need a motion.
I thought we had.
Nope.
No?
Did we do that motion on 17?
Not yet.
Oh.
No?
Well, I'll make a motion to approve this final site plan.
All right, Commissioner Branson makes the motion on item 17 for the Ocoee Village Center Southeast Commercial. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Oliver. No more comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Like side? Motion carries unanimously. All right, number 18. Preliminary final large-scale subdivision plan for Ocoee Village City Townhomes.
And again, this is the location of these at the terminus of Fuller's Crossroad where the roundabout's going. This is the extension of Fifth Avenue to the east. And in your packet, I believe there is a phasing plan, but as Rick said, primarily they'll develop on the west side first, and then they'll move over and finish out to the east. There is the 232 units. There's two type of building sizes, a 6-unit and a 4-unit building, 32-foot and 20-foot units in those buildings. There's a pool and cabana area, which will be accessed by card, by member only, even though the subdivision will have internally, you can walk and ride. It's not gated. And then you have the park.
You have the pictures of the townhomes?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. And then we have an entrance onto Lakewood, the realigned North Lakewood. And you can see these sidewalks meandering. There's a lot of right-of-way there, and almost it creates linear parks within that is open to the public. It's not gated off. This is all, you can traverse through it. So with that, I'll entertain any questions.
Is the park maintained by the
It'll be
community?
city.
It will be a city park?
It'll be dedicated, yes, deeded to the city.
We don't want to open it to the
And-
public. I'll open it to the public. Anybody in the public have any comments? Go ahead. I'll let you.
Just to clarify, the city park on the left is going to be owned and operated
Yeah.
by the city. The pool, the cabana, and all that will be owned and operated by the HOA.
All right.
So I saw the commissioner looking, and I think that might address your question.
All right. Anybody else in the public have any comments? No comments, we'll close, come back to the dais. Anybody? I need a motion.
Mayor, I'll just go ahead and announce we didn't receive any phone calls or emails for this.
No calls or emails. All right. I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. I'm sorry.
Motion made by Commissioner Brenson. Do I hear a second? Seconded by Commissioner Wilson. Any more comments? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like side? Nay. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Good luck. Good way to go. Get started. Thank you. I'd also like to thank, I think maybe Angel County worked with some of this on our economic development guy would get with the county, I hope. I think so.
I'll be honest with you, getting through the school process with the other county.
We'd like to thank him also for that.
Instrumental.
Yeah,
Getting us through that.
good.
Thank you all.
All right, number 19, capital improvement revenue bonds, series 2020. Not to exceed 13.5 million.
Good evening.
I'm awake.
Pretty scratchy, wasn't it? You wake up, right?
The residents at home, thank you very much for all of it. I just want you to know, I hear about that
You
squeaky
only have
microphone.
yourselves because every time I present, you're always telling me to bring the mic closer.
Well, I just want to say that the residents at home tell me about that squeaky
Do
microphone.
they?
and-
We need some WD-40 over here.
Yeah.
So maybe with this $13 million, we can
This is,
pay
our
$1.49
finance
for.
director, Ms. Roberts. Thank you.
So this evening, we're here to consider the Capital Improvement Revenue Bonds 2020 series. These are the continuation bonds to complete the City Hall project. We have discussed with you on several occasions. We issued bonds in 2017, but due to some cost increases and additional project costs, we found that in additional work on City Hall, we found that we are going to need the additional funding to complete that project, and we're all eager to get that project going and completed. So we're here this evening to consider the resolution to allow us to issue those 2020 series revenue bonds. We are very pleased to tell you that we've gone through the ratings process and we have received some very good ratings. Fitch rated us AA+ and S&P AA. While I'm talking about ratings, if you have not heard, we had a surveillance on our 2016 water sewer bond issuance, and we received an upgrade to a AAA. And that is excellent considering we are in the middle of a pandemic and a slight economic downturn, so we're doing very well. So those ratings will also help us to achieve good interest rates. So with me tonight is Mr. Galvin, who is our financial advisor, and I will apologize, Misty, because I am having a hard time remembering your last name, but our bond counsel is here to also help answer any questions you may have. So with that, I will take your questions.
All right, commissioners. Anybody have any questions? Only question I would ask is, now we're getting this, when's the City Hall gonna start? So, you know, if we can get this voted on, then we'll talk about that.
We'll get it voted on and we can get started.
All right. Do we need to read anything, Scott?
Yeah, let me go ahead and read the title to this resolution. This is a resolution of the City of Ocoee, Florida, supplementing resolution number 2017-005, adopted on March 21, 2017. Authorizing and approving the issuance of not to exceed 13.5 million capital improvement revenue bonds, Series 2020, for the purposes described herein. Authorizing the sale thereof to RBC Capital Markets, LLC, and delegating to the city manager the authority to award the sale of the bonds to such underwriter pursuant to a negotiated sale subject to the conditions and terms set forth herein and in such purchase contract. Approving the form of such purchase contract, the preliminary official statement, and the continuing disclosure certificate, authorizing the execution and delivery of such purchase contract, the final official statement, and such continuing disclosure certificate, appointing a paying agent and registrar, authorizing other required actions, and providing an effective date.
All right, I want to open the public. Anybody in the public want to make any comments?
No calls or emails have been received for this.
Thank you. Once again, no comments from the virtual. All right, nobody in the comments. I'm going to close the public hearing and bring it back to the dais. Okay, any comments? Comments? Commissioner Wilson.
I'd like to just say thank you to the staff. Sorry, we echo with these. Thank you to the city staff, because these are wonderful ratings that we have. And again, it's going to make us move forward with the city hall. And again, as you said, in this time that we're dealing with unemployment and this pandemic, and we maintained a wonderful millage rate, and compared to other cities and issues they may be having, I think we're in a great shape. And I just want to thank the city staff for all the effort that they have done to make this possible, and to everyone involved. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else got any comments? I will echo what Commissioner Wilson said. Once again, staff, great job. Finance people, great job. And let's, finance director, all of you, Rob, let's move ahead and get this done. All right, I need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson for the Capital Improvement Revenue Bond Series.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Oliver. Any more comments? No more comments. Let's, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you leave the check?
It's in the mail.
Yeah.
It's in the mail. Famous last words.
Thank
in the
you.
mail.
Thanks, Mark. All right, down to the regular agenda. Approval of a contract for purchase of 17.96 acres of city-owned property located at the northeast corner of Fuller's Cross and Ocoee October Road by GPK Investments. Assistant City Manager Shea.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the Commission. The item before you is a result of your direction on August 4th to proceed forward and bring back a contract between the city and GPK Investments concerning the 17.96 acres located at the northeast intersection of Fuller's Cross and Ocoee October Roads. Following the discussion regarding the RFP, this was the only offer at the full market price indicated by our appraisal. Before we begin, I'd like to apologize for getting you this document on the dais. It's not customarily the way we like to do business, but one of the things that we try to promote is an atmosphere of working together with our customers, and at the urging of the buyer, we worked up until yesterday afternoon to create this document. The buyer is anxious to begin with some of the necessary studies to complete their due diligence work. They are here representing GPK Investments. We have Charles Vickers and Jeff Edelman. I'm going to briefly just touch the main points of the contract for purchase. This contract contains a $5,000 contract fee and an initial deposit of $10,000 and a final deposit of $65,000. Additionally, this contract is contingent upon several things. First of all, we have to have a public hearing. We intend to hold that hearing at the next City Commission meeting on October 20th. The second thing is one of the items you approved earlier this evening is a forestry contract to conduct logging on the site. We estimate, based on our consultant, that it will bring in $15,000 to $19,000 worth of revenue. That's provided for in here as well. The closing date is contingent upon the applicant or buyer receiving all of their government approvals. So the site plan process, which will come before you, before this thing closes, will be a process that, while we feel confident that it's not going to be a lengthy process, we included 1 year, up to 1 year, to obtain all the approvals that they need. We don't believe it's going to take that long, but as part of their due diligence, we know that they're going to want to do some studies to look at the groundwater and so on because of its proximity to the Chevron piece to the south. They want to make sure that they're getting clean property, so we want to provide for enough time for them to do that. Additionally, we also included in there at a cost of $15,000 per occurrence, 2 90-day extensions. We don't anticipate that they'll need to use those either, but given the fact that we're experiencing greater rainfall in the last recent years than we've experienced in decades here in Ocoee, and most of you probably have had comments from citizens about the stormwater ponds are filling up, and we all have our fingers crossed about the storm season. The site's very wet at this time, so the logging will not be done until it dries out a little bit, and they will need to do some of their studies after the property dries out a little bit. So we anticipate that it will be a pretty painless process, but that is the nature of this contract in a nutshell. Our city attorney was gracious enough to be there with me step by step through the preparation of it, and I would like to thank him for working with us and GPK Investments to get this done so we could get it before you. We are happy to answer any questions that you have at this time. Again, at the request of the buyer, we went ahead with putting it on the agenda without giving you the customary amount of time to review.
We don't need a public hearing on this.
No. You will have a public hearing on October 20th.
October 20th, yeah. All right.
Pursuant to the city charter.
I'm going to ask the commissioners, anybody have any comments or further comments? We commented on this before, but you got a chance again. Anybody? All right, what I need is a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Wilson. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Brinson. No more comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Like side. Motion carries unanimous. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Shadrick. All right, staff items.
I have nothing, Mayor.
All right, comments from the citizens. All right, I got Melody.
Yes,
On this one here, she wants, is she on the phone or not?
No, I'm gonna call her now.
We need to know where it's at. If you're gonna use the building for the city like Adair Center or somewhere, we need to know where.
May I ask what it says?
Ma'am?
May I ask what it says on the request?
It just says the name. It says a food drive being hosted by Ocoee.
Okay.
In Ocoee, I'm sorry, not by Ocoee, in Ocoee. That's all it says.
Right now, on the public comments, I'm gonna put you on speakerphone, and you'll have 3 minutes to address the commission on this, okay?
It says Miami, where she lives. That's a long way to come give away food. Okay, she on the line?
She is.
All right.
Go ahead, Deidre.
Hi. Yeah, I'm here.
You can address the commission.
Thank you to the mayor and the members of the commission. My name is Deidre Kraus, and I work with McCraney Property Company. It was mentioned earlier in the evening that we are requesting the opportunity to host a food drive. Rather, I am here tonight to invite you, the commissioners and the mayor, and alert the community that this event will be taking place for any that are in need. Stephen McCraney and his team at McCraney Property Company are so passionate about the city of Ocoee and providing quality growth. And we're honored to be wrapping up our first industrial project at Distribution 429, which spans 650,000 square feet, which is where we will be holding our free drive-through food distribution on October 24th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. We have been doing this throughout the state, and Ocoee has given us so much by allowing us to come to the city that we want to give back. As such, we are distributing a semi-truck full of fresh food, enough for 500 families, in a socially distanced format, where no one gets out of their cars. All volunteers are masked, gloved, and they put the food in the trunks of vehicles to those who are in need of sustenance. We hope our district commissioner, Richard Firstner, will embrace this event, and we'd like you all to attend we'd like to invite you all to attend our food drive on October 24th.
All right, where did she say that's at? Is that at the furniture? Huh?
429 warehouse over here.
Warehouses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So do we need to pass consensus to do that, Rob?
No, Mayor. I think it's just she's extending an invitation to you. If we have the details, we'll make sure to get times in place and
We
the
will
date
be
into-
working with Sherry to get
Okay.
all details to you guys.
With who? Sherry. That'd be great. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, now we can start on Commissioner Wilson.
Okay. Should I speak without this? I just want to bring something to attention. Tonight, on item 7 of the consent agenda, there was an item that we approved, was Orange County is considering, the purpose of the grant is to reinforce safe pedestrian, bicycle, and driver behavior in the priority counties in Florida, and Orange County is one of those. And it was interesting because I believe that, as we all see this every day as we're out, that pedestrians are out a lot more in the community, in the neighborhood, and it bothers me when I do not see folks stopping at the stop bar. Not that I'm perfect, but stopping at the stop bar, allowing pedestrians to cross, especially where near schools. I've watched where cars have children in them, and they're not stopping to allow the children to cross the streets to go to school. So, I mean, we need to practice that safe behavior. When we see that there's a grant where, due to the number of serious injuries and deaths of pedestrians and bicyclists, and that's going to take place over on Silver Star Road, and West Colonial is the area that they're saying is a high priority, but Ocoee itself has high priority. And so we want our residents to understand to please grant pedestrians right away at crosswalks, because it is the law. Am I correct, Rob? It is the law. Thank you.
That it?
Yes, that's it.
Commissioner Firstman.
Rob, I was just wondering if you could give us a real brief update on the City Hall project, where we stand now.
Yeah, the last I had seen, Commissioner, and I know the mayor alluded it to this evening, the plan, I don't know if Jamie's back there right now, but we've had a couple of issues with the final plans from Wharton Smith, and I believe we are anticipating a final set to the building department next week. So as long as that goes through, I think you're going to start seeing some activity out there. I mean, I'm crossing my fingers. We discussed this briefly before. We did not get the best sets of plans, and we have our own internal review for a position that we actually hired last year to do that, and we were not satisfied with the quality of the plans that we got. So what we wanted to do is keep the costs down to actually kind of nail down those issues that we, we weren't happy with, to get that done before we actually started, the contractor started and creating all kinds of issues for us in the field and change orders. But we think we're at that point right now. I know Jamie's much happier with what we do have than what we had like 3 months ago. So hopefully next week the final plans will be in the building, and we'll see some progress from there.
Good.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Oliver.
As I travel, in my daily travels, I've been noticing that Clark Road is coming along fairly quickly. Looks like they're starting to pave the portion of Clark Road from Claricon, Ocoee to McCormick. So it looks like they're pretty close to completing it. And I'm wondering if they're going to complete it sometime in November, December, can we look at getting an announcement in the water bill letting folks know that this project is actually almost done. There is quite a few people that's anticipating this, and we are just ecstatic about this particular project, and we just can't wait. So just want to know if we can get a consensus from the commission to see if we can put something in the water bill to alert the residents of the northern part of the city that this road will be opening really, really soon. If we have a date, we can put a date on it, and then maybe even doing somewhat of a quasi-grand opening shortly after it actually opens. So I just want to see what the commission thinks about that, and what does the staff recommend?
Yeah, we can definitely do that. I think the success of our transportation brochure last year. Everyone appreciated that in the community. This would be kind of like an extension of that. Whether we would do some type of ribbon cutting or something like that, I think would depend on what state the pandemic is, November, December. I know that's the time frame that we're talking about right now. It's definitely something that can be done with a consensus to do a mailing to everyone with their water bills. Maybe as we get closer to that time, we'd have a better idea. We haven't done any groundbreakings or ribbon.
Do we have a date yet on that?
I'm sorry?
Do we have a date, a tentative date?
I know you had requested that the other day, and I think, Craig or Mike got, and whatever the date is at this point, Commissioner, I mean, that's probably still a wild guess at this point. I think if they come within a month or so, I think that would be,
as long as we can get it within a month, we can strategize.
Yeah, I think anything that we put in,
a notice out there.
anything in a notice in the water bill, we'd probably, an anticipated, opening would be at the end of the week or at the end of the month or something like that. And as that gets closer, we can use the portable message signs and those types of things out there on Clark Road.
Absolutely. I mean, again, if we don't do a grand opening, I'll stand there and cut the ribbon myself and say, hey, we're open. But we've been waiting on that for a very long time. So, so I guess we need to bring this back for a consensus when we get a date as to when we could do something.
Yeah, I mean, a consensus right now to put something in the water bill, I think would be fine when we have more of, when we're more, sometimes, what we run into is we wait a little too long and we want to put something in the water bill for the end of the month, and because of the different cycles with the bills and the time for the printing and the printer that we use, which is down in Southwest Florida, we usually run out of time. So the earlier is the better on something like that.
So if we can get a consensus now.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Can't we do the consensus now?
Absolutely.
That way we don't have to come back.
Yeah.
Anybody got problems with that?
No, I just have a question.
All right.
If there's a charge for that, is that what would come out of our discretionary fund?
Well, and that's the other thing. So I think the last time that we put that transportation brochure together, I think that went out in the water bill. That was probably like $2,500 to $3,000 for them to make up the mailer, to stuff it, and to put it in with the water bills. Not a large cost for something like that.
Is there another way to do it? Maybe just add extra printing on the bill?
Well,
versus
it's very
create a
limited.
flyer?
So
25, now we're talking discretionary fund.
yeah, we'd be able to do something like Clark Road opening, keep watching. That's probably all we'd be able to put
I
on.
mean, something like that. Even if we have a date, that might cut down on the price. I don't know.
I'm with him. I don't think that comes out of discretionary fund. That's the city's thing, I think, to let citizens all know if that.
Well, no, I'm not. I didn't say it should come out of your
asking
discretionary
I know.
funds. We have contingency, and we do have some smaller
affects
marketing.
all of us.
If you want to give us the discretion to take it, up to $3,000 from contingency or from some of the other line items that might be, promotional or educational, we can do that also.
Or he said, putting a blur on the bottom of the water bill, saying it's open. That's what Commissioner Oliver mentioned.
Well, that would be after the fact too. Yeah, I mean, it's not hard to do something like that. It's very limited though.
If there's a time frame that they have, why could we not put one of those big signs that we make to put out and say,
We could.
road opening so-and-so date?
That's nice.
I mean, that would even suffice if we actually created like a large, like say 6 foot by 4 foot sign somewhere, say road coming this time. That
There's a
might
lot
be
of traffic
cheaper to do it that way as opposed to putting it in the water bill. Yeah, that would actually.
Don't we have the flashing sign?
We could you do that
Yeah, you can
in
get
conjunction
those.
with it, because they have to move
It's a lot
that sign to
cheaper, too.
different
You can get
locations.
those things
So
done
I'm
for-
just thinking
Yeah.
price-wise.
I'll save you some money in discretion.
I
Well-
hate to see using a discretionary fund for a mailing like that, for that. So that's why I brought that up, but maybe we could have other ways that
I think-
And actually, if I remember correctly, because of the transportation brochure we did last year, we actually put some money in the budget to do something similar to that this year. And this could be one of the more popular projects that we should let the residents know about. So
You can get those signs. I think you put one on kind of both sides of that road or something.
yeah, on both sides of the road, nice large signs.
Yeah.
Put the
are you talking a stationary
logo on
sign?
it?
The stationary sign on the side of the road.
Yeah, like we have up on Fuller's Cross Road,
Yeah.
the Phantom Road.
your tax dollars at work. Yeah,
All right, we can work on that.
Okay. all
sounds
right.
good.
Awesome.
So no mailer, just the signs, and then when it gets closer, maybe some portable signs. We'll just do
Then
signs.
put it out on our TV when we get the date.
Okay.
Put it out on our
All right,
TV.
we can do that.
Yeah, awesome. Also, there's a bill from State Representative Geraldine Thompson. They came with the road designation bill for the July Perry Highway on Silver Star. That road designation came out. The bill is just designating a certain part of Silver Star to be designated or have a designation of July Perry Memorial Highway. Yeah, Memorial Highway. In keeping with that bill, I'm perhaps asking that we would actually, as a city, adopt a resolution in keeping with the state's bill, and ask that we are prepare for the as we prepare for the 100-year memorial service. I think it would be in keeping that we would create a resolution that will go along with what the state has already approved and the county has approved. I do have a draft of what the county has put together, and I think as a matter of I guess administrative matter, that we can actually maybe adopt our own resolution from that, in keeping with what's already out there, what the county has. So I just want to see what the commission thinks about that, as far as having our own resolution, since part of that is in our city, and plus we actually have the 100-year memorial coming up. I think that might be a great opportunity for us to piggyback on what's going on with that memorial service.
But they don't change the name of the road, do they?
No, they don't change. They actually add a little designation atop of it.
Is there a thing we can do a resolution under the state highway or the county highway?
Well, that's a state road.
Well, the state and the county is already, I did speak with, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I want to just ask the lawyer. Somebody told me the other day we couldn't do that. I just want to make sure.
It's a state road?
Yeah.
And you want to do a resolution?
He says the county did one.
Well, the county did one as well, because it's actually a county road. But the state passed the bill that allowed us to add the road designation.
I'm sorry, Representative.
Representative Thompson.
Thompson told me it was a state road, so.
Silver Star is a state road to my knowledge.
State road, okay.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering, I'd love to see what.
Well, I do have
an
actual resolution. You know, a copy of it?
Well, I thought maybe.
I didn't do a resolution, I think you just do a proclamation or something saying that.
We do a resolution, proclamation, something just in keeping with the state bill.
I don't think it'd be a problem doing a proclamation. I don't know about resolution.
I think typically a resolution would support something that the state did in, as far as designating it a memorial highway, or you could do a proclamation supporting what they did. Either one.
We could present it at she's supposed to call us about when they're going to do that.
I spoke with her, and she has not gotten a date yet, and I think it has something to do with the state having the signs, the little tags that go up available. They're still making them, so she's waiting on a date as to when they're going to be available for us.
She did tell me that she was going to be, they're coming out, and then we can all go there and do read the proclamation.
So do you have a proclamation that you've written? Is that what I understand?
Well, I have
a
resolution.
A resolution.
It's a resolution in support of the state bill.
Do you want to?
I think we need to write a proclamation. We can write it up.
Okay, and give it to Sherry, because then she can distribute it to us, so we could.
I think we do the proclamation, and that way, and we can read it on the day of the thing.
I'll give you a copy of it.
You know, and then give copies to representative and all the senators and all of them. We'll work on that with Sherry, Mr. Oliver.
Okay.
And then you can help participate with that. Is that all right with everybody?
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right, one more item. One of the remaining taboos in our communities is the stigmatism of surrounding mental illness, whether it's depression or anxiety, or at worst case scenario, suicide. There is a long-standing belief in our communities that such concerns are taboo, and that their impact is the problem of others. My family and I have known for years about the stigmas associated with mental illness. Mental illness issues are really rarely discussed, shared with others, accepted, and more importantly, adequately addressed. For these very personal reasons, we have decided to share our mental health challenges with you all. We have a son whose anxiety and fears have become more pronounced and debilitating over the years. When we were first confronted with his mental illness, we had no idea of what mental illness was about. We had no idea of what my son was going through. As he did his best to explain to us what was going on in his mind and his head, we dispelled it as you're just being a little paranoid over little things, not knowing that he was really struggling with a illness that he didn't understand in his undeveloped brain. So now that we have been able to receive more information and education about mental illness based on my son's illness, we have been able to understand our son's needs more than just reassuring words to deal with his mental illness and challenges. Therefore, we're currently seeking the very best mental professionals and trained counselors to manage his illness. I'm sharing this with you because on Tuesday, September 29th, 2020, my son had a mental health crisis wherein assistance was needed by the Ocoee Police Department. As a father, as a citizen, as a commissioner, I cannot tell you how proud that I am of the responding officers. The call was fluid and dynamic, yet the officers held to their oath of serve and protect. We know that our police officers and first responders often do not get the credit that they deserve with today's progressive environment. The men and women who choose these careers do so knowing that it is a dangerous job and often a thankless job. I believe in recognizing officers for their actions and outstanding service efforts to the community and their fellow officers. In keeping with this belief, as District 4 Commissioner of the City of Ocoee, I would like to recognize the following responding officers who demonstrated respect, excellence in training, and professionalism for the events on September 29th. Sergeant Leo Gomez, who was a supervising officer on duty. Officer Alex Molina, Officer Robert Hill, Officer Thomas Hall, Officer Joshua Bode, Officer Trainee Wendy Pressey. This year has been challenging as we continue to navigate COVID-19's uncertainties, political turmoil, and polarizing daily news events, just to name a few. However, a single event reminded me that all Ocoee citizens should rest a little easier knowing that we have officers who are highly trained, citizen-oriented, and ready to respond 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Thank you, thank you, thank you to the officers for your service and professionalism. In ending, I would like to say that those of us with children who struggle with a mental health condition, you know that this is not a quick and overnight fix. We ask that you will continually hold our family in your thoughts and your prayers. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yep. I will tell you that happens in a lot of us that nobody knows. It's good to make comments, Commissioner. Commissioner Brinson.
Yeah, I gotta follow George. I went to the Orange County History Center recently and visited their exhibit entitled Yesterday This Was Home. Mm-hmm. Very good exhibit. I would encourage each and every one of you to, if you have an opportunity to go visit it. It's in downtown Orlando at the Orange County History Center. Second thing I have to say is well, I actually guess I have a question, because we did bring it up, which is Fuller's Cross and Ocoee October.
I was gonna bring that, but you did.
I need
That's the most phantom fixing road out there, no.
Yeah, I just need an update on where we stand with that. And
If we don't hurry, we're going to repaint them signs.
I agree, Commissioner. We, the commission awarded the contract. We met with all the utility companies, and we're actually proceeding with a lot of the shop drawings of traffic signalization. With the current environment, one of the subcontractors doing the site work came back making some requests for additional funds that weren't justified, and the contractor is currently seeking some other subcontractors at their opening numbers tomorrow, and hopefully reviewing to where we can start next week. Our goal is to be breaking ground next week. We have the utility companies ready to go, and like I said, the long lead items, we approved the traffic signal design and submittals today, but the nature of the business getting contractors out there has just been like pulling teeth.
And so the manager, the project manager of this project, are they?
Yes, Ulrich Construction, it's a construction manager at risk. We hired them to build the project, and they've come back with, hey, we've got some issues. We don't want them to start until they have all that worked out, because we pay a premium on top of the costs in order to get this project moving.
Okay, obviously, you know, we have a lot of people that's contacted. I'm sure the mayor's being contacted. I know myself being contacted constantly because the signs have been up there for, you know, going on just about 2 years now. And then there's a blinking sign, a road sign that's been up there for a while. We see paint on the ground where they've been doing some markings, but then that's it. So I just wanted to get an update, so I do thank you for that update on that.
Thank you.
Early voting. It's between October 19th and November 2nd. Early voting, October 19th to November 2nd. I know we talked about City Hall that's going to be coming out of the ground here shortly. As soon as that happens, we're talking about Fuller's Cross and Ocoee October. We're talking about Lakewood. We're talking about a lot of projects, a lot of construction, a lot of developments coming in the city of Ocoee. I would encourage you to be mindful, give yourself enough time once these projects start coming out of the ground, because they will be time consuming. You have to do workarounds when you're driving to and fro, because that is the nature of development and modernization of our city. So be mindful, don't get too frustrated, give yourself more time when you're traveling to get to your destinations. And I think that is it, Mr. Mayor.
All right, I appreciate you bringing that. I was gonna bring that up also, because I ride by, I know we've told people, and I know you have, we've told them, it's been going on and on and on, Steve, and I know problems. We just need to get that dirt moving out there where they can see a shovel flying or something. So, one question I wanted to ask Rob, and I don't know if all the commissioners have talked to him yet. Duke's talking to us about the thing, but what I wanted to ask is, we have plenty of time, is why we cannot look into power doing like Winter Park did. Orlando Utilities is one that Orlando's got. And Winter Park did their own power years ago when they were coming up for the contract extension. And I thought maybe if we got together with Winter Garden, we did a joint thing that we could form our own power. Just a thought process that we can go out and look. I know I went to South Carolina to a little town that's 9,000 people. They have their own power set up there now. They've taken their own power over. And the company that did it was in Jacksonville, Florida. And they have got, everything in that town is getting done with that money coming off that power deal. So what I'd like us to do is look into this and see if there's a way we can do the franchise ourselves.
What I would recommend, Mayor, if that's something that the commission wants to do, I mean, I've never run a power company myself, so I don't think I'm qualified, perhaps. And I know Winter Park did it, and some of the cities, you know, as their franchises come due, are actually looking at that. But I would think there's probably an expert out there that would be able to come in and do a quick, I don't know if it's a down and dirty type look and give us an idea. That's going to be 30 million or 40 million, and this is how the repay on something like that. But
one of the major things is the substation. I think that's the thing. That's the standing point. But I think if we asked Winter Park, we asked the South Carolina lady, the mayor, and then we look. All I'm asking is look at it, because Winter Park's having no problems with theirs, and they did that. I think that was probably the last time we signed one, maybe 20 years ago, whatever it was. And I know Orlando Utilities has worked fine for years, but if it's a way that we can fund our own and do it, I'd like to at least check it. We got a year before our franchise is up.
Sometime in 21.
Yeah. So I'd just like, if we could research it, come back and give us an overview of what, if we can do it. If we can't do it, then fine.
We actually would have to purchase power. We could actually become our own entity, but we would purchase power and resell it to our citizens. That's exactly how it works.
So
We
I think
purchase the grid.
it don't hurt to look into it. I mean, we're 50,000 people now, and I know Winter Park wasn't that big when they started. I'm just saying, in that town, I went to a conference there, and they were 9,000, 10,000.
I think it's worth looking into, Mayor. I think if we really wanted some information that would really help us make that decision, I think we'd probably need a little professional help from someone in that industry.
That's what I want us to do. I'll tell you that when I was there, it was amazing. Every street in that town, I don't care where it's at, is underground.
Yeah.
Every one of them, underground. But that's...
So we could do a little research, maybe see what we can find out, and maybe see, what kind of money it would cost for maybe somebody who's versed in these types of things to help advise us in the next step or something like that.
That's why I kind of said, even if we looked at Winter Garden to join in with us to do that, because of the two cities.
My old company they actually do that. They actually broker deals where they would actually go to small town municipalities and set up power grids to purchase from the larger companies and then actually resell it back to the citizens. So they actually do it at almost no cost as a consultant to be able to broker a deal.
Mayor. Give me a contact.
All right, I got another. Can we do that?
We'll see what we can find out. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Mayor.
Is that okay, consensus, Joe?
Yeah, I think, can I piggyback off of that?
Yeah.
And talk about water? Can we do the same for water?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can we do the same for water? As far as Orange County Utilities versus Ocoee Water?
Well, I think what you're speaking of, Commissioner, was the agreement that was signed back with the original JPA in the city, where we gave away our utility service area, and the county came in and put county water lines in, which I understand. I mean, we've talked about it. They don't quite get the quality of service and quality of water in response for issues that we provide to our residents or our customers. So if I understand what you're saying is, do we want to see if we can negotiate with the county? I'm fairly certain what they would say is, here's what that infrastructure is worth, and if you would like to purchase that from us. That doesn't mean we can't have that discussion with them. We've tried before in the 16, 17 years I've been here. I've brought that up many times to the county manager and the deputy county manager. Kind of off the cuff, that's always the response they give us. Well, if you got deep enough pockets, anything's for sale. That's typically the, the response we get.
I don't know about the rest of you.
We've been successful chipping at it bit by bit, like for Arden Park. I think that was the last one, wasn't it? Where we use them as a wholesaler, and it's like, instead of us serving the south end and you serving the north end, we'll serve everybody, and we'll buy some water from you and pay you for the water we buy. But we're actually the customer. We're actually the ones who respond to the customers. They're considered our water lines out front, and they're customers of the city of Ocoee Utilities. So we have been doing that where we can, bits and pieces. Wholesale to the county, give us everything that's within the city limits. They may be willing to do that. I think there'll be a large price on it, though.
All right. I just, if you can bring it back, like I said, I'll get you the name and from South Carolina, and I'll get you the name in Jacksonville. And let's
Okay.
just see what we come up with. I got a question here, and I don't know, Melody, who give me this? Will the city host its annual Martin Luther King Parade?
That came from, support services and Doug Gaines.
All right. Is the diversity board works on that, so we can ask them that at the 1st of November. But when I was there, not this last meeting, one before that, they were talking about it and laid out the plans. I don't know if Chairman, you want to make a quick comment up here? Because it's the diversity board.
My name's William Maxwell, and I'm a resident of the city of Ocoee. We planned, as chair of the Human Relations Diversity Board, we plan to have our normal monthly meeting on the evening of 5 November, at which time we will address the issues related to planning the MLK event for January 2021.
So we're planning on it, so. All right,
Yes.
all right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. All right, I don't know who has that. We'll let them know, all right? Okay. Anybody else got anything before we close the meeting? Once again, thank everybody. Appreciate it.
Any
See you.
citizen, were there citizen comments? Anything came in?
She told me no already.
Oh, no, it was just
Okay.
the one.
Oh.
All righty. Meeting adjourned.